Welcome back to my 1987 BMW 528e build. I finally got it back from the frame shop and it is straight. The frame is looking good now. As you can see from the passenger side, the fender does not go under the door frame anymore. It is straight and fitting just perfectly. And then also another thing I didn't even notice, but this passenger side door was kind of really tight and not shutting easily. I kind of noticed that, but it turns out up here was kind of buckled on the frame. So when they straightened it out, that popped down, and now the door fits in well. But unfortunately, the paint got stressed here and some paint flaked off. Now, the door itself shuts just fine and goes back in. Compared to previously, I had to go up and really push on the door to get it all the way shut. So that was a nice thing to get fixed on it. And the driver's side is looking pretty good as well too. Nice and straight. And then it was pretty sweet. The frame shop was right next to a BMW auto parts store where this guy sells, he has his own little junkyard of BMW parts. He sells the parts real cheap, and he's actually able to find a BMW front hood emblem and got it for just $5, which was just freaking awesome. And then while I was there, I was also able to get the ashtray I was missing. He had one. This came off of actually a BMW E30, so the 3 Series, I believe. And yeah, I got that for just around $20 and fit in perfectly, so that was nice. And while I was there, I was also able to get a trunk emblem that I need to install. So as you can see, this one is pretty well worn out. But yeah, if anybody is interested in sourcing some pretty well priced BMW parts, I think some of them are used, some of them are new, depending. Check out Zionsville Autosport. That's where I got mine. But I did run into one little stumbling block. While they had fixed the frame, they had to move the hood up and down again and again, which actually ended up breaking one of these, the pneumatic holding arms. So I had two spare ones lying around from the parts car I had sourced. So I put them both on, but it's not holding it up at all, unfortunately. Right now I've just got it held up by wood. As you can see, it doesn't hold up at all, it just falls down real quick. But I found 2 of them on Amazon for around $30, so I'm waiting on those to come in to replace these. But yeah, the frame shop I found did a really good job at pulling the frame straight. As you can see, they used the front bumper mounted back end to assist in with pulling it straight. And these are just looking a whole lot better now. The main frame bar running down there. And then also another thing is the battery tray is looking a lot better now, as in a lot more straight. Kind of hard to see from here, but unfortunately it's going to need some welding up done. Yeah, here's the bottom end of the battery tray. Previously it was all crumpled. I'll include some pictures of that too. But yeah, it's a lot straighter now, but it's going to need some welding or something done on it. But yeah, it was also pretty tricky getting this car over to the frame shop. As you can see now, I got a Toyota TrueStart battery. This is a spare battery we had laying around, thankfully we had. But for some reason, the Bosch battery I had would just not hold charge. I think it must have burned a cell out or something. I haven't gotten a chance to take it to AutoZone yet to run the battery test on it. But it was basically the night before I was going through testing the car, making sure it was good to go to take to the frame shop, and just wasn't starting up. It was having a real hard time going. The starter just kept on, you just heard the starter just kept on going and trying to start, and it was having a real hard time going at it. So we ended up having to jump start the car, and that started it up and worked fine, but drove it around the neighborhood, and it drove fine around the neighborhood. But once we brought it back, started it back up, the battery still wouldn't hold enough charge to get it started, so we threw in the spare battery we had and started right up fine. So yeah, I gotta figure out what's going on with that old Bosch battery, but I'm good to go now. The new trunk emblem looks pretty good. Doesn't look like it might be a drop-in replacement exactly. It was believe we pulled this one off of a newer 5 Series, the generation right after the E28. But looks a whole lot better than this one, condition-wise, but you can see there's a little bit of a size difference, I think. Plus this one has like a slight curvature to it, where this one's pretty much flat. So it's not hugging it all the way, but it's good enough for me, honestly. Alright, and if you're curious on how the front bumper goes on, the bumper behind the main bumper, so this one right here, that goes behind this, basically just kind of slides right up on into here. And then what you're going to do is you're going to bolt it on at there's 6 key points. You can see there's a hole right there it bolts onto. And then if you look up in here, there's a hole right there. And then it's another one right behind this wire. And then there's another one over here, right there. And then it bolts on each on the outside ends. Alright, so currently I got the front bumpers on and the headlights reinstalled. Everything fit in together pretty well. For your reference, if you're curious, the headlights bolt in here, here, and there. There's 4 points for each of them. And one thing I did notice with this headlight, the mounting points were a little bent because of how the frame was originally bent from the accident. So what I did was, this was flanged out, so I bolted these two in first, and then I pushed this down and screwed this in, and it bent it right back into shape. But yeah, otherwise everything's looking pretty good now. These two fit in well.